Hi, it's Joy. Today we're watching The Wheel of Time, Season 1, Episode 5, Blood Calls Blood. I am so ready for this episode. I'm still a bit blown away by the response on YouTube to these reactions, so thank you. I really hope you're still enjoying them. Obviously, only 2 episodes have gone up on YouTube when I'm filming this, so maybe everyone hates it now. I don't know. 2 things I wanted to quickly mention before I get into this. I did put a little message up in the previous reaction, but when I was editing, I realised I was really dumb while filming the previous reaction, and because they kept showing this shot of the dagger in the wall while the Gleeman was fighting the Fade, I was like, oh cool, so Matt threw his dagger at it. I must have like kind of got a little bit confusing, and I was like, Matt threw the dagger, he doesn't have it anymore, maybe that means he'll be okay if it is the dagger affecting him. And then while I was editing, I realised that Matt very much did not throw his dagger, and the Gleeman threw his dagger, so therefore Matt does still have the dagger, and so if it is the dagger that's affecting him, he still has it on him. The second thing is I have just remembered finally, because I don't know, what's going on, okay, to watch the extra like little informational animated shorts that they have for each episode. I went back and I've watched the first 5 because that's as far as I've got to, and I'm pretty sure that I meant to watch the 5th one because it was about the White Tower, so now if we go to the White Tower this episode, I will know more about it, and it was very interesting. Thank you so much for recommending them. Like, Amazon, why on earth did you hide those away? Because like I looked at like the extra section on like the main page of the Wheel of Time, and it just had like behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, well, I will watch all of that when I'm done with the show. But these were like hidden away within a thing, within a thing, within a thing. Thank you so much, because they were one thing, they were brilliantly made. For another thing, they were very informative. My one slight question is who the original dragon was. Now, if I'm not meant to know, cool, that's fine. Like, don't worry about it. But it was the original dragon, the Aes Sedai man who went up against the Dark One that we saw in that short, or was he just someone else? Like, am I supposed to know more about the original dragon than I do? Obviously, don't tell me who the current dragon is. Again, there's a part of me that's like, maybe they revealed it was Nynaeve in the last episode, and I'm like, who is it? And I've just like put that as a tally on her name, and instead it was confirmation. We will find out. I love this show, like I've said. I am thoroughly engrossed, and you know, thinking about it, I think someone mentioned there's 14 books that are hopefully going to be made into 8 seasons, and I'm like, that's like 8 years. And then season 1 came out in 2021, season 2 is coming out in 2023. I'm gonna be so old by the time this show is done. Like, it's gonna be like 10 years before I could read the books. That's devastating. Because I do want to focus on the show. I think as much as I know I will devour those books and I will love every second of them and I cannot wait to read them, I think because of my reactions, I want to have a complete clean reaction to the show. Maybe, I suppose, if the first season's the first book, I could like read it with the show. Like, I don't know. But I don't want to accidentally get any extra knowledge that would ruin my enjoyment of the show. Not that I think it would ruin my enjoyment, but maybe ruin the reaction, because I think the reaction is that little bit more when I don't have any idea what's happening next. Big ramble aside, I'm so ready for this episode. A reminder that, as always, you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go! Your worst nightmares. Oof. Like a wheel. A whole month for all of them? Like, every single character is now a month later? I mean, of course they are. If they're a month later, everyone else will be as well. What's happened with like Matt and Rand? I mean, they're the ones I'm most concerned about because they're sort of on their own. Fade's vaguely on the area they're in, and Matt seems to be losing his mind a little bit. And also, how's Nynaeve been for the past month since her little magical burst?
Do you still think of it as home?
Don't you?
This saddle is home. This cloak. These boots. This brooding man at my side.
You think the other 4 are already there?
If they are, we'll find them. And if they aren't,
we'll find them.
We'll find them.
Yeah. So they're not walking side by side. And he does not look good, but I don't know if it is magic manifesting. Oh, sorry, I should say, oh my god. Sedan. My brain fog is the worst for remembering technical terms. I don't know if it is like the power manifesting in him, or if it's just the dagger. You're not okay. Can we take a break off to the side of the road for a minute?
Mate, you... I don't know. I think I've seen it before.
Now, does he mean like in a book, or is that yet another? Is that a sign on his tally of being the dragon that he recognised the mountain? I do need to go back and rewatch my reactions and make a tally next to every name for who I account being the dragon. Whoa. Yeah, I'll go there on holiday. So 2 of them have at least made it to the city. Oh lord. Who is that? Oh, well, there's a nice lot of information here I'll be reading in a second. Who was that whistling who looked away when he saw them? Was he the dude that was the peddler at the fair that didn't seem very concerned when he wandered off when they were fighting? I don't know whether I'm picking straws out of nothing. Someone has definitely witnessed that these 2 have arrived. Dragon Mount was created by the previous champion of the light and the original dragon, after going completely insane when he returned from... Yeah, so he is the Aes Sedai man that we saw, right? Yes. Thank you, Sid. They have just told me the answer to my question at the beginning, but you can confirm that for me, please. In a moment of horror realization, the dragon drew more of the one power than he could hold, creating a bar of white-hot energy. The pillar vaporized the dragon. With a blast so powerful, the earth will split open, breaking the crust and creating the volcanic... Aha! So, is Rand really like, hey, I know that place? Is that a huge sign that he's going to be the dragon? Because he's like, oh, this place feels familiar. But then I also feel like it's probably going to be in a lot of historical books and things. Like, I don't know, just... They've heard of the White Tower, you've heard of what happened with the dragon. Maybe you've seen a picture somewhere? You're not... Well...
Matt, a little girl on the farm. It wasn't you, Matt.
The awful thing is we don't know for sure. Like, I want to be like, it was definitely the Fade. But we don't know 100%. Again, I don't think it was him. It could potentially be the madness of using the magic, or it could be the dagger. But I don't think it was his fault if it was him.
Tom's dead.
Yeah, I think he is.
Now, please, you know you didn't kill that family. You would never hurt that little girl.
But the truth is, regardless, I imagine, if given the nightmares that the Dark One is sending them, he has probably given him nightmares of killing that family regardless. Okay, they're in the White Tower. That's good. If we get there, please ask for Moraine. Please hope that they send for her.
They have eyes and ears watching every gate and every wall in the city.
Or hopefully it was her eyes and ears that was watching them.
I'll know. And if you're not careful, those tower politics will eat you alive.
Yeah, so she's not the dragon. That's good. She's just a super powerful, awesome woman.
Maybe it's you, Aes Sedai, who shouldn't underestimate me.
I do think Moraine meant that as a genuine warning. But I also completely get Nynaeve's distrust of all of this.
How do you fit into the world?
You can trust
Can you ever
Moraine.
go back to being who you were? You'll never be the same. But it's time that you saw that for the gift it is.
You know who you truly are. You know more about yourself than you did before. So who's their 5th? Is it the boy with the travelling people?
The dogs.
What are you two talking
Because
about?
they've had a much nicer journey.
Obviously.
Did you see? The White Tower.
Okay, there's some hope for us all. Well, something I meant to say. When they listed the 7 different professions that the people could be, I want to be the history keeper one. What colours do I get to wear? Would he recognise the 2 of them as, yeah, the people that were with...
Those 2. Bring them to me.
Oh, fuck.
You can't just take.
Yeah, so people were saying, like, the whole organisation of the White Cloaks isn't necessarily evil, but there are definitely going to be people within it who are zealots and scary, and this man is one of them.
You can't have them.
I can't.
They're so
That's a
close.
strange word to be coming out of it.
Fuck. They are extraordinarily brave. Jesus Christ! They were so close to the White Tower, she could see it! Of course, the 2 that had the most pleasant journey don't make it.
It's quite exciting to meet an Ioman. I've read much of your people.
Ooh.
I'm not an Ioman.
Really?
From the 2 rivers.
An Ioman from the 2 rivers?
I'm not an Ioman.
And
I did wonder when they said about the hair colour thing.
Seti is not. I like oddities.
Friends? We do need more friends.
I'll see you out there.
Always in such a
Yes, definitely. We're just really excited about the possession, not about our potentially...
prepare for what they're walking into.
I mean, you're very right about that, sir. Fuck. You're such good... Is that him? The guy that was the peddler at the fair? Does he sense the dagger, or did he also get sent dreams of them? Oh, it's him, yep. You're not okay.
Let's make a deal. You won't let each other become like that. I'm serious. I don't give a shit. I promise.
He will promise, but please mention the weird dagger that I think you still have, and now I'm beginning to wonder, do you still have it? But he's thinking, I think you probably are able to wield.
You do the same for me? You bet.
I knew I wasn't worthy.
You were, because she would not have chosen you if you weren't.
But White Tower gave me the first real family I ever had.
You still have your family. You honoured her right till the very end. Jesus Christ. Every member of the White Cloaks that doesn't stop people like the crazy zealot man from acting is complicit.
If you care for her, boy, don't fight.
Fucking hell, this is awful.
The light must have brought you before me for a reason.
They were travelling.
Touch the one power. I know you can. So stop me from killing you.
Like, if she uses the power, is it going to condemn her or something? Like, what is his sick game here?
You would have made a strong Aes Sedai. A wonderful ring to add to my collection.
Yep, this man is just a monster who joined this organization to give himself authority behind his evil. Oh god.
Because we humans are meant to be of
What was that with his eyes? I mean, this is horrific and awful.
For everything absurd.
This is awful.
So I have been called to stamp it out. I'll leave you two to discuss.
Jesus Christ. What happened to him with his eyes?
Decide which one of you it will be.
If either one of you is the dragon, now would be a great time to manifest that kind of supreme power to get yourselves out of here. Where the wisdom that raised her and trained her came and was turned away.
But now you've escaped Moraine's cage, you should enjoy your freedom.
This woman is definitely playing power
That
games.
way leads.
Just wanted to find the 4 people that were taken from the village.
And found the woman you spoke of.
Why the light?
The braid is a distinct rite of passage in the
It's not the right woman, but she's found 2 of them.
Perrin.
I'm so happy that they're together, and I'm so stressed for the other 2. The dagger.
Show me your tongue.
Don't touch me!
There is something very, very wrong with this man. He's not himself. I think it's the dagger.
Sorry. Now Moraine said we should come to her at the White Tower. I don't know if we can trust her. We saw what the Aes Sedai did to the false dragon.
We don't need the Aes Sedai. We're 2 rivers folk. I'll heal what I can, and when Egwene and Perrin arrive, we'll sort out the rest. Together.
Egwene and Perrin need us to go and find them, please.
I haven't seen her in a month now.
Egwene is many things. But above all else, she's unbreakable.
She's in a pretty tough spot right now that could break even the strongest of people.
If it has to be one of us, it should be me.
Is this when he's gonna confess? Confess.
No, Layla's death was not your fault.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't.
And I swung with all my strength.
She was coming at you with Blade Rays too because she
But
didn't
it was
know.
her. My own hands.
I'm so sorry he's been carrying this for so
My
long.
own axe. This is what I deserve.
No, it's not. It could have happened to anybody.
Have we reached a decision?
Yeah, you're gonna die, actually.
It was an accident, Perrin. Not your fault.
The last thing you want is for him to die believing.
It'll take you your whole life to realize that. But you will.
Is he like a werewolf or something? Because like the animals are all howling and his eyes are going a funny colour.
I promise.
Oh, she's sacrificing herself for him right now.
You will. Drift.
Fuck, are they not getting out of this one?
Just drift.
She's done nothing wrong just because she's channeling, but he'll just lie. He doesn't give a shit.
You'll find me harder to kill than that, Kmoo.
Fuck.
In truth, I was expecting more. Light, protect me.
Get him.
What are you?
I do. Yes, girl, yes.
Let's go.
Run, my children, run. Run. Oh, you wonderful, wonderful girl. A man is in tune with the wolves. He could be aware. Oh my god, is that why the wolves were helping him? Because he's a wolf man. Oh my god, I love this show. Fucking hell. I'm still not at ease. Yeah, you get these bitches, wolves. Anyone that follows that zealot bigot pig. The wolves are your friends. Yeah.
You won't hurt us.
He's like, come on, mate. I love this show. Genuinely, there was a moment there where I was beginning to be like, we're gonna lose Egwene. Like, she's just gonna die. Like, she's gonna use the magic and is the mountain exploding is that normal? I guess maybe. But like, I really for a second there was beginning to process that Egwene might die. Fucking hell. The way she stabbed him, that's not a guarantee. Is that a guaranteed death blow? Because I don't know if it is, which probably means we're gonna see that bitch again.
One day you'll have to trust someone with your secrets. Or they'll scour you from the inside out and leave you bare.
She just wants to go about her business saving the world.
What not to want? Huh?
He's able to smile, that's a good thing, I hope.
Knows she's falling for you. That's a bad idea for her. Love's usually a bad idea.
Definitely
Still,
formed a bond,
allow
that's for
it to
sure.
happen.
Oh dear. I'm very concerned he's gonna like take his own life or something. That's why he wanted the sleeping drugs. I think too late. They should do far more to look out for warders who lose their Aes Sedai. This kind of outcome is almost inevitable. You did all you could for him. I was worried this was where this was gonna head. Seeing a lot of their funeral ceremonies, unfortunately. Yeah. brother. That's a very, very nice way to end the episode. Thank you very much. Okay, the show is very intense, as always. We finally reached the White Tower, most of us, which was very exciting. It was exciting to finally see this place that we've heard so much about and we've been journeying towards for so long. And to kind of see the rituals that make up day-to-day life there to an extent. The kind of the procession bringing back the false dragon, the novices who I presume are the ones walking around in the white. Definitely you got much more a feel for this place and how it has become like a den of vipers, a lot of them, to an extent. Like people jockeying for power, trying to be the most, I want the best position, and thinking that person's a threat, so I've got to squish them down. And then you've got like people like Moraine who are like, I just want to be an Aes Sedai and do my job. I'm not bothered about any of that. So things are going to get tricky going forwards, I'm sure. And for Nynaeve, trying to figure out her place in all of this because she does not want a place in all of this. But I do wonder if there's a small part of her that is almost like... I mean, I do think ultimately she doesn't want any place for this. I'm not trying to say this is a huge part of her, but you almost are like, see, we are good enough for you. Like, see, I am worthy of being here, maybe more worthy than some of you are, and so would the wisdom that you turned away have been as well. But yeah, this episode was huge in so many ways, and devastating as well. Like the loss of the Aes Sedai in the previous one, and then her warder in this one. I spent the whole episode trying not to vocalize it because I didn't want to put that energy in the world, but being very, very scared. This man looked like he was only living to return her ring to the fire and like to do his last duty by her, and then that was all he had in him. You know, every time he talked of joining with someone else, there was no, like, he was kind of, I could never make that decision, and then suddenly he's joking about it. I was glad he was able to smile, but it worried me. And when he spoke to Nynaeve about how, when I fall asleep, the pain stops and that's all I have of her, it shows you just how deep this grief is and just how not good his, great words, Joy, not good his mindset was right now. And it's heartbreaking. And then you kind of see a little bit with Moraine, that fear of, well, if something happens to me, what is going to happen to Lan, to this man that I care for and respect? Like, what I couldn't imagine the thought of that happening to him. But I do think it's one of those things, like when they said at the beginning, or for a warder to lose his Aes Sedai, you know, a warder should not die before their Aes Sedai. And I'm like, I'm sure a lot of Aes Sedai, as much as I know it destroys them, would want their warders to get to live beyond them as well. So yeah, a lot of big emotions in this place, and a lot of, you know, the dramas that are coming in the terms of the Halman's seat is coming. And I know now from the little video thingamajigs that she is she was an Aes Sedai who was elected or became the head. Moraine is not interested in coming for your power. She just wants to find the dragon and help them save the world, not break the world, okay? Can we just let her focus on that? But yeah, definitely as much as they talked about, you know, being away a lot, no one knows where you stand, what your opinions are and everything, but it also means, I think, being alone a lot, you don't really build up an alliances or join a faction or get people behind you. You know, Red Woman, did I write her name down? I did. Leandra, well done, Pazjoy. Leandra, she has a whole faction of people behind her. She is like rallying people to her side. She is swaying them, manipulating. Like with Nynaeve, she's able to be like, oh, we don't all hate men, but men are so very cruel. Kind of, she didn't pick, like, she's very good at being what the person, manipulating people in the sense of like approaching them as a version of herself that they will most easily receive. I don't think Nynaeve is stupid by any means, but I think anybody, if you have a kind of consistent, like, if you're feeling lost and like you don't have your place in the world and someone comes along and offers you a hand, you're going to want to take it. But Nynaeve, she's like, you've shown me the door, great. I'm off to the gardens. Oh, and not an ogre, an ogier, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, has appeared, says he knows where my friends are. I'm off to go find it. Like, she's just doing her own thing, and I'm very, very intrigued to see where her story takes her. I think she would make an excellent Aes Sedai, in part because I think she would be an Aes Sedai along the lines of Morgaine, someone that truly cares about doing the right thing and not just doing the thing that's going to give her more personal power. And like, I'm sure there are loads of Aes Sedai like them, and I'm sure in her own head, Leandra thinks she's right, thinks that the reason she's grasping for power and trying is because she knows the right way to do things. I don't think she's moustache twirlingly evil, like, you know, but I worry about her and what's going to happen. Then we have the boys who made it to the city. Now, they survived a month on the road, and that conversation when Matt was like, tell me again, and Rand immediately knew that he meant you didn't kill that little girl and her family. And the most awful part is we don't know for sure. Like, no one saw what happened. It definitely seems as though Matt was not aware of what was going on. I still think the dagger is part of it. Now, am I a complete idiot and he did throw the dagger and he doesn't have it anymore? I do wonder whether it is the dagger, because we haven't seen him using any power, any magic. Maybe he is a wielder, maybe he has tapped into the one power, but we haven't ever seen him do it. For him to have deteriorated so far into like madness, despite having never visibly done it, including in moments when they've been in danger, it doesn't seem likely to me. I think it has to be the dagger, but of course, none of them know he took it. So none of them know to look for it, to search his person. Does he have a mysterious magical artifact on him? None of them even know that it was only after he touched the dagger that all the shadow things came in that city. And I don't even know if he is aware of the significance of it all. I don't think he is. I think he is just losing himself, spiraling, and terrified of it, and just wanting it to be over and to not have to deal with any of this anymore. The promise he asked Rand to make of, you know, we don't want to be gentled, I guess. We don't want to become like that. Promise me. I think in part it was we'll keep each other away from the Aes Sedai, and I think in part it was if we do ourselves to madness, we will do the deed ourselves. Obviously for Rand making that promise, he's like, I think you're currently going insane. It's much more imminent for you than the faint prospect it could happen to me. But it is definitely... Now, obviously, another thing to think about is potentially, if Matt is the dragon, could his kind of condition actually simply be part of the dragoning manifesting? But yeah. That was just a lot, and we kind of didn't get any answers there. We just got like continued stress, and like I'm not complaining about this because obviously this is a wonderful show and I'm loving every second of it, but I'm also like, just give me my answers, please. On the flip side with Rand, obviously we saw him, he's been a very good friend looking out for Matt. We also saw that he is both scared for and a little bit scared of Matt, which is understandable given everything, but ultimately these people are family, they're friends, and they love each other. His interest in the books and everything, very interesting. Now, did he recognize the mountain because he very clearly has had access to lots of books? It's not like they were in a small like village far away with no contact with the outside world, with no books or anything. They're all fairly literate and aware of the world and histories and things. So I could definitely see it just being that I recognize that, like, if I were to go to the Taj Mahal, I've never seen the Taj Mahal before, but I would be like, oh, I've seen that place before, I know it. You know, like, you can recognize things from books, from other media, without having necessarily be recognizing your own past life, but that could also be a sign that that place holds some kind of significance to the dragon because it is the site of his death. So yeah, definitely a potential tally in his name's corner, but again, no one has yet said, hi, I'm the dragon to me in terms of what's happened in the story. If anything, I'll cut to Perrin, but if anything, I think Perrin has potentially disqualified himself for me. But I mean, again, I'm not fully disqualifying him either. No one is fully disqualified. No one is fully equalified. I still want to know who this fifth person is. But back to Rand. The Ogier commenting on his hair and just referring to him as, I can't remember the name, but that race of people or whatever, or community of people, and just being like, oh yeah, you're one of them. And Rand being like, no, I'm not. And him be like, yeah, you are. Very, very interesting. I have to, because I noticed it at the time, that when he was like, oh, you can tell them by their, like, I think it was like they're tall, and they're like, there were other features as well, but the most telltale giveaway one was their hair. So does that mean every single ginger person in the entire, every person with red hair in this world has some DNA coming from that race? You know, it doesn't necessarily mean Rand is fully, you know, if he did an ancestry DNA test, it would come back 100% from there. Could his mother, we haven't seen her, could she have been one of them? His father could have been as well. He was a very good fighter. Commented on that like he was an unusually good fighter. I was sort of assuming it was some sort of noble heritage of some kind, but could that be the link? Does his father, I can't remember now, his father's face is just foggy in my mind. It was in one episode. I thought, does he have grey hair? So potentially he could have once had red hair. But definitely Rand was like, that is the most wild accusation ever. I have never heard this before in my life. So he's not aware of this heritage if he does have it. But I'm glad that when I was like, if all people were ready to have them, what about him? Yeah, so definitely another interesting thing to explore. And again, if Rand has kind of that going on, and then like the sword and the heron symbol and everything, does that potentially mean he's not going to be the dragon because his plotline's going to involve that stuff? And then if we jump ship to Perrin and Egwene, who I nearly died for, Perrin, we skip to the fun part. His eyes were glowing the whole time, and that was, it didn't seem like anybody normal using the source, touching the one source, using the Sidae. I'm so sorry, my brain, these terms, I hear them and I'm like, yes, I'm going to remember that. I even say them to myself, and then my brain fog is like, you think? Something was up with that. And of course, the wolves were helping him when he was injured. They helped him find a safety when he was struggling, stranded in the woods. They helped lead him to people that would look after them. He is one with the wolves. Now, I don't know whether he's a full-blown werewolf, but he is somehow in tune with animals to a degree, and I'm very intrigued where that goes. Part of me feels like that also disqualifies him from being the dragon, because he's going to have that going on in his plotline, but also there's no reason to say the dragon couldn't also have any of these other plotlines going on. But yeah, the whole, like, seeing the Tinkers, is that a name that they like identify with, not just like a name that they're like given as a slur? Their commitment to pacifism and also to protecting people, like, it would be very easy for them to be like, well, we're not going to fight you, but instead they risk their lives, risk being hurt to save these few people who have been their guests. Was a lot. It was lovely and horrible to see. It was lovely to see these people that truly believe this. It's not just something they say when it's convenient, and to see that not only did they, it could have been that they just said, everyone run, and all run away together, but instead they stood firm, they linked arms, and they were like, well, we are going to stop you from getting there. It was very lovely to see. I was wondering if Oren was going to be the 5th candidate, simply because he vaguely mentioned something about being 20 and leaving, and he didn't appear to have left yet. I don't know. I'm just looking for this 5th person. If the dragon is the 5th person, it's going to be like, oh, you thought didn't need to leave home in the first place. Unless maybe the 5th was his wife and she died, and so therefore, like, the dragon's not, well, the Dark One's not aware of that yet. But the moment they were captured, my heart just sank, and I was just praying that, like, Maureen's been like, I have eyes everywhere, and I was like, well, eyes, do something, please. And I don't especially think she probably has eyes in that questioner's camp, but that man is terrifying. And as much as I do understand, like, people have said that I was very confused with kind of the differences between that there are the 2 branches of the Children of the Light, or whatever they're called, and the White Cloaks, and obviously within them there are some that are good, there are some that are bad, there are some that are zealots, but if it is kind of everyone knows that man goes mad, he likes to torture women, and he kills Aes Sedai, and he collects their rings, surely everyone is aware of this fact. If you condone it, you are enabling it, and therefore you are just as bad. It's the same way that, like, within, the systemic corruption within the police force, sure, there probably are a lot of really good, wonderful people who are cops, but if they are aware of even one dodgy cop and they don't do anything, they immediately become a dodgy cop too. Like, it is that same logic that I'm applying to the White Cloaks. It was just so off-putting and unsettling and creepy, and I just was so uncomfortable. And they did a brilliant job, because you were meant to feel that way. If anybody watched that scene and was like, oh, what a lovely time, I do have concerns. But it was just, I was so stressed, and I just, I have to believe that the main characters are going to stick around for a while, but I also know that, that doesn't necessarily mean that, especially in a show with so many characters, we could lose one. Like, we could lose 2. And I have to try and brace myself for that fact, and I don't want to. And that moment when we knew that in that moment, Egwene wanted to channel, she wanted to use the power and save Perrin, and she would sacrifice herself for him, and he wanted her to not do that, to live, because he would die. And I think even without his wife, he would have wanted the exact same thing. That's just how much these characters love each other and what good people they are. That moment of desperation when, especially to begin with, that he was torturing Perrin, and even if she wanted to, she couldn't freaking use her power. And the level of zealotry in that man that it didn't matter that this girl had clearly never used that power before. Just the simple thing of, I think you're probably capable of it. You know, he is that far gone in his mind, that zealotry, that I truly believe he is someone who enjoys hurting people, enjoys hurting women in particular, but enjoys hurting people in general. And this crusade he's given himself is just his excuse. And maybe it's even an excuse he believes because he's justified it, but that doesn't mean it's right. And it doesn't mean, obviously, it doesn't mean it's right or true. And it also doesn't, it just, why on earth is this man allowed to get away with acting like this? Why doesn't, I know that the White Cloaks kind of have their own kingdom or their own region. They're not really like, oh, we're unified together, but why is this man allowed to get away with this? But the level of desperation. And so then when he finally broke down and was like, no, I deserve this. This is what I deserve because I killed my wife. I'm just so thankful that he finally told someone, that he finally said those words, because, you know, every time he's received any comfort from anybody, and especially over the last month with Egwene, when they're the only ones that have been together for most of the time that they've been away from home, he has felt like, well, yeah, she's saying it's not my fault, she's saying she's so sorry for me, but she wouldn't be saying that if she knew the truth. That would have been his internal dialogue the entire time. She wouldn't say that. If she knew what I'd done, she wouldn't say that. She would hate me, she would look at me differently, she would despise me. And so the fact that the moment he said it, her heart just broke, and she was just like, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. Believe me, it is not your fault. And then even the bastard came in and was trying to torture him, and she was like, excuse me, we're having a moment right now. It's not your fault. Was a lot. And I think it is just so good, in my opinion, that somebody now knows this, because he should not have been carrying that alone, and it wasn't. And when I was editing, she had something, she was like approaching him like this, with it raised above her head, which would she, I mean, maybe given just the angle she was at, she might have had time to not do it if she'd have realised it was Perrin. But they were both lost in the terror of that moment. There was not a single bit of intent behind it. Again, he's always going to carry that with him. I don't think it's going to be something that he's going to be like, oh yeah, cool, wasn't my fault, never mind, never thinking about that again. Of course not. Not only does he have to deal with the grief that his wife died, but it was technically, you know, he killed her. But it was not, you know, it was the sort of thing that happens in battle. I mean, if you think about all the battles throughout history, there must have been so much friendly fire in those things, even with the different colour. I don't even, like, even if they happen to have different colour stuff on, I don't know how realistic that is, you know, there would be so much friendly fire in these situations. It's not his fault. And I'm just so thankful that Egwene now knows a little bit. And even if there's a lot going on, I don't know how much time they're going to have to sit and process. I'm just so thankful that somebody else knows. And then Egwene, oh, my heart broke by this episode. And there was genuinely a moment when she was channeling, when I was thinking, she's just gonna die. Like, I was just sat there thinking, like, what if she dies? Like, maybe that's why we've had such a big thing of, like, maybe that's the reason we had Nynaeve talking to Rand, that story about how when she was younger and how, you know, she's out there and she's a fighter and, you know, you can't break her. I was like, she's going to sacrifice herself for Perrin and therefore she's not broken. She's made the choice. And I was just there like, that's why we've had such a big deal about it. And we've had him talk about the girl he loves and that he doesn't know where she is. You know, I was very stressed that was all a build up to her dying. And I didn't like it. And I was like ready to cry. And then, you know, thankfully she was managing to save him by, she wasn't going to rely on that bitch's word. I love that she was able to, I think she did the magic that, you know, she did the fireball that kind of distracted him, and then she did the workings that undid the ropes, because somebody commented that men's working looks different and women can't see it, and that looked the same as hers. So I don't think he can channel the force, or channel the true one power or whatever. I'm just getting a bit muddled with the technical terms because of my MECFS brain fog brain that is like, too many words. When they say it, I fully know what they mean. I think he just has his connection to the wolves that I cannot wait to learn more about. But I love the fact that that is the true Nynaeve we know and love. Egwene we know and love. I mean, I was ready for her to sacrifice herself for him and just know that I was kind of thinking that as much as I do believe she has the capability to be an epically powerful wielder, right now she is so new to it, and yeah, I would have been immensely proud and devastated had she died. But the fact that she was able to distract him with a little fireball, free Perrin was able to be wolf-manned up, absolutely everything, freed herself, stabbed that bitch. I know that they then had to run for their lives, and before they left the tent, they didn't know that the wolves they could hear howling were attacking the White Cloaks. They could have been, you know, anything going on. But we could have stabbed that man a few more times, made sure he was really dead. Because I was thinking about it, and he's dead, right? When I edit, if he's very clearly dead, I will be aware that he's very clearly dead. But in the rush of everything happening, I'm not 100. I think he's probably going to be alive to ruin our days in the future. But I also love that she grabbed those rings, because that bastard does not deserve those trophies. He is not some great hero of a war against evil women. He is a monster who enjoys torturing women. And he deserves to die. Seeing him get stabbed was very satisfying. So now those two, they are on the run from the White Cloaks, who thankfully are being mauled by wolves. And like I said, in that camp, maybe there were a couple of like young novice people who didn't feel able to say like this is bad, but if they were all okay with what their bastard commander was doing, they're all complicit. Are they free now? Are they? I guess they're going to continue on to the White Tower. Maybe they'll head to the village that Oren mentioned, because they want to check on how the Tingers are doing. But I really want them to make it to the White Tower. At the very least, if they could make it, and then they can run into Rand and Matt and Nynaeve, and then we can all be together again to make informed decisions. And then what we really need to do whenever they get to the White Tower, whether it's Perrin and Egwene or Nynaeve, Matt and Rand, although I feel like she's going to be like, yeah, we're worried about Matt, we're not taking near the White Tower. I need them to meet Moraine to find them, and not Leandra or anybody else to get her hands on them, because I just don't think it's going to end well. Especially like, I mean, I know that like by the law you can't execute, they can't gentle someone unless they have proof, right? Without trial as well, or well, it should be without trial. But I still just think if she finds out that 3 of the candidates for being the dragon are men, I don't think that's going to go well. And you know, I still don't know whether like if it were to be one of the boys, would that be like, cool, we're going to train you to save the world? Or would it be like, oh, too bad, we can't, this dragon is definitely breaking it, die. Like, is the only hope Egwene? Like, I don't know. I love how much these characters care about each other, it's absolutely everything. And then we had the dude who was watching when they first arrived, he was watching them and then he left, and then he was watching them when they were sitting on the thingamajig. He looked similar to the guy that was peddling stuff and like, Matt sold the bracelet to in the Two Rivers, and that when the Trollocs attacked, he didn't seem the least bit concerned and just kind of strolled off, which makes me worried that he is an agent of the Dark Ones, that he is a Dark Friend, that he is maybe part of the reason why they came to the Two Rivers in the first place, and that he's been following them somehow, or even if he wasn't following them, he was just doing his business. He's like, found them, and yeah, stress. I need Moraine, if she truly has eyes and ears everywhere, hurry up and find these people, please. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful episode. I adore this show. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance. And thank you so much for watching.